Many thanks to Fellow Extraction Squad, One Original DayZ servers, Clash of the servers, Sgt. Pepper servers, Sea of Tools Cloud, Dallas, the Struggle Community, the Karma Crew servers, Dots, Designful, and Friendly, a DayZ podcast for making this video possible. DayZ 1.28 has introduced 3 new optics for us to play with, so I'm going to be comparing those stats and where you can find these, along with how to use them to find out how far away targets are, what the new stats mean on the rangefinder, and why all optics in DayZ will be worse now. The PSO-6 is based on its real-life counterpart and is very similar to the PSO-1 optic. Likewise, it attaches to all weapons that the PSO-1 attaches to, but has 6 times magnification instead of 4, and comes with a different reticle for ranging targets too. It's found in Tier 3 and 4 military locations on Chernarus, helis and convoys on Livonia, and Tier 3 military and inside the dynamic containers of Sakau, making it much harder to find than the PSO-1 that can spawn in all military locations on each map. The PSO-6 zeros to the same as the PSO-1, 1000 meters at a maximum in increments of 100 meters, can be illuminated with a battery, and the other stats are pretty much the same with these two. The biggest difference is the zoom level. Obviously 6 times is certainly better for the PSO-6, but does mean that you will have less peripheral vision compared to the 4 times optic. The second biggest difference is a reticle rangefinder, which is not great for gauging player distances compared to the simplicity of the PSO-1. So with the PSO-1, if you didn't know, you can use it to range targets based on the height that they're standing. So for example, if they fit in this area here where the 4 is, it means you need to 0 to 400 meters and you're good to go. However, the PSO-6 rangefinder isn't designed for ranging human targets. It's supposed to be for animals, but it doesn't really work against wildlife in DayZ either. But I did find a way to range players with it. If a player is prone, they will fit between these 2 vertical lines here, with each pair of these vertical lines representing 50 meters from 100 meters up to 400 meters, and beyond 400 meters, each of these gaps down here is 100 meters apart. So if a prone or dead player fits in this bottom gap here, that is 700 meters, or if it's this gap here, that's 300 meters. This is a lot more complicated than the simple PSO-1, so many players will probably go with the PSO-1 and reject the 50% boost in magnification just to have this simplicity when it comes to range finding targets, and the fact that it's a lot harder to find too might put players off. The best optic added this patch then goes to the Marksman Scope, obviously, which comes in 3 color variants and attaches to all of these weapons down here. The black variant is found at police situations only on Chernarus and Livonia, but is restricted to dynamic containers only on Sakau, where the tan and green versions are mostly found in military locations instead. So on Chernarus, that's Tier 4 military only, on Livonia Tier 3 military only, where on Sakau it is a bit different, spawning under the special loot tag instead, so can be found at the base camp, the volcano lab, the geothermal power plant and Nogovo airfield, along with dynamic containers too. In all cases, only 1 of each variant will spawn per server, so that's 3 total per map, but on Sakau it's about 5 total due to how dynamic containers appear to completely ignore loot restrictions. The Marksman Scope will zero in increments of 100 meters up to an impressive 1100 meters, which is a maximum viewing distance in DayZ for players, and has 3 different zoom levels, 3.5, 6.5 and 10 times magnification. To rangefind a target in DayZ, you can use the mil dots on the optics, so at 10 times magnification, count how many lines there are going up, and that's how tall a player is in mil dots. At 200 meters then, there will be 9 mil dots tall, so 9 mil dots, that's 200 meters away, where 4 mil dots in height is 400 meters away, and 2 mil dots in height is 800 meters away. It's not perfect, but it does get the job done, especially seeing as no other optic has mil dots for these weapon types, but bear in mind that the 6 times ACOG does provide better peripheral vision. The Marksman Scope is for sure the superior over long distances though, and a huge upgrade for these weapons, with variable zoom making it a great spotting tool, but other optics will likely suit short to medium distances much better. The final optical attachment added this patch is a Sportpoint Sights attaching to all of these weapons here, so no, it does not attach to the crossbow. It spawns in Tier 2 and 3 hunting locations on Chernarus, Livonia it's Tier 3 hunting only, and on Sakau it's found in the big hunting area in the middle. Compared to the hunting optic, which also attaches to all of these weapons, they both spawn in the exact same locations on Sakau and Livonia, with the hunting optic spawning differently on Chernarus in Tier 3 and 4 instead of Tier 2 and 3 hunting locations. The biggest difference is the rarity of how many of these will spawn, so the hunting optic spawns about half as much as the Sportpoint Sights, apart from on Sakau where the Sportpoint is rarer for whatever reason, so that might change. The hunting optic is mostly rarer then, and it's simply a much better better optic for the type of weapons that it can attach to, but the Sportpoint is still better than iron sights at shorter distances. So if you have a battery, you can get that red dot, which is pretty much a requirement, zeroing from 25 to 50 to 100 and then maxing out at 200 meters with a fixed magnification of 2 times. This means it's absolutely ideal for a weapon like the Sporter 22, which, given the Sportpoint's name, might be the main reason that it was actually added to the game. You might be wondering why I haven't told anybody about the accuracy stats that these optics and sights provide. It's because they do not provide any accuracy bonuses at all. In fact, in 1.28, all optics and sights no longer improve the accuracy of our weapons. They are solely a tool that provides more magnification and more zeroing options as of 1.28. This in turn means that no weapon in DayZ is 100% accurate anymore, and sniping targets beyond 800 meters is going to be a simple roll of the dice, a little bit at least, which will be shown in my weapon changes video soon. For now, all optics and sights become cracked at damaged or lower. They are perfectly fine at worn and pristine, with them being unusable when it comes to ruined. You can still use them, but they're kind of unusable too. This also applies to binoculars, the rangefinder, and even night vision goggles now. And the night vision goggles will still work when they're completely ruined, but the night vision optics, both of them, will not work when they're ruined. They'll just be a blank screen, and nor will the rangefinder display any of its stats when it's ruined. Now, the rangefinder and night vision goggles can be restored to worn using 25% of an electronic repair kit, removing the cracks somehow, but the 2 night vision optics and the binoculars cannot be repaired this way. The only optics that appear to be exempt from these cracks are the fixed optics of the SSG and the Mini AUG, with the Kashtan cracks being so faint that it's still very usable, but this could change. The rangefinder now has a new HUD which adds more numbers for us to abuse. The central number is a direct meters between you and your target, so the number that we had before in the last patch. There's a new number called the horizontal distance, and there's another number called the angle difference, and this is the angle difference between the direct and the horizontal lines. As shown in this image here, these are the 3 stats that are shown on the rangefinder HUD. Now, giving you a set in stone perfect formula for us to use with all of these numbers and make the perfect headshot every single time, you will need a calculator for every single shot because of the bullet speeds of the various weapons in DayZ. It's just far too complicated. So to use a simplified, less accurate method instead, basically all you need to do is look at the angle and then wing it based on if it's a plus or if it's a minus. So in the case of the SKS, for example, which has a decent bullet speed of 700 meters per second against a target that's 800 meters away at a minus 10% angle, this is going to mean that I need to aim down slightly, where a plus 10% means I need to aim up slightly. This works for most long-range weapons in DayZ, as 700 meters per second bullet speed is about the average when it comes to long-range weapons, apart from the VSS, and also this example is a bit drastic when it comes to a tower on the top of a hill shooting into a valley, yet I barely needed to adjust my aim in this example, so these numbers, they don't really help us a whole lot when it comes to shooting, unless you're shooting from the top of the volcano. What's your take though? Do you like the new HUD, and do you believe there needs to be changes to the new optics and the new sight in this patch? To see the other changes of 1.28, including the spicy new shotgun, see this video here. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.